Welcome to round 3 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motor. And we are in sunny Queensland at the 3.12 kilometre short, sharp circuit where the complexity is in the simplicity of this track. Yep, it's Queensland Raceway, and with me now is ASBK champ and World Endurance champ Steve Martin. Steve, we are back at the Paperclip, and this place holds some very fond racing memories for you.
Well, a long time ago I was on the podium here, Kate, but since those days coming here, I'm just like flabbergasted. I mean, the place has changed so much. The infrastructure, the pride that the owners have got in this circuit, it's amazing. And let's not forget that this circuit creates some of the closest racing, not only in Australia, but the world. Welcome to sunny Queensland for the Honda track preview. Now, Troy, this track is a little bit special.
What a track. Known as the Paperclip, this track creates the best racing on the calendar. I don't think I've ever been to this track without seeing 3 or 4 guys battling for a win. It's very rare to see someone break away. It's got everything, big brakes, flowing corners. As a rider, one of the most difficult tracks to set the bike up for.
Well, come on, let's go and dissect a few of those corners. You need a good run through turn 1 to set you up for this corner here, Michelin turn 2. In my opinion, it's the most important corner on this track. It's a long corner, it's got high speed, and you need good bike balance. The track's also slightly off camber, so bike setup is super important. The drive out is also important here. You tuck in behind that screen, which gives you a higher top speed, gives you more chance of slipstreaming down that straight, which in turn gives you a better overtaking chance into turn 3.
Okay, so we've exited turn 3, the big braking part of this circuit. We come to turn 4 and 5, which is almost like going to a complete different circuit. It's almost like Phillip Island, where you're on the edge of the tyre for a long time. You need a bike that's really efficient and easy to ride, and if you've got that, you can make passes into the race. But this part of the track is somewhere you have to really concentrate on to get that bike set up perfectly.
Well, when it comes down to it, Troy, this is the final corner, the one that matters.
How exciting. I love the last lap battles that this track creates. We've got turn 6, it's point and shoot, which means on a superbike, it's about stopping the bike, pointing it to the finish line and having a drag race. What that's going to do, if there's 2 or 3 guys in the battle for the last lap on this track, is there's going to be passes for sure. There's going to be block passes where the guys run the guys wide, because all you've got to do is get to that finish line first.
Got a few BluCru Junior Cup champions in this race, with Harry Watts on bike number 14 back on the 4th row of the grid as well.
Interestingly, the track's been declared wet. We had a rain shower last night. We've had the Aussie racing cars out this morning, but obviously they take a completely different line. They have dried the track up somewhat, but as you can see, it's quite flat here, so there still is quite a few puddles around, and the cars do take a different line to the bikes into the corners. Basically, the cars enter a lot wider. You can see on the apex there of Michelin corner that it was wet right on the inside there. A few blotches here and there. These guys are just going to have to be careful that they, that they stay in line and they have a real good look in these siding lap and warm-up lap.
They're heading round through turn 3 now, and as they head towards turn 4, which we heard in the Honda track preview is a place that Troy Herfoss loves, it is also one of the places where it's probably the most water on the track. Let's have a look at that grid. It is Cameron Swain, Brodie Gork and Henry Snell that will start from the first row of the grid, with Valentino Nezovic, Brandon Demery and also Jai Russo that start out of row 2.
Yeah, Marcus Hamod, the winner yesterday, Sam Pizzetta, Ryan Larkin in row 3. Row 4 is Watts, Simpson and Lowe starting out of 12th.
Yeah, Lachlan Lowe is a very interesting story. First time he's been racing in the national level and doing a great job at this weekend. Row 5 is Cooper Roundtree, Knight and was that Riley Gilbert from South Australia.
Yeah, massive field, and I tell you what, all of these guys are going to be together out there on track, Phil. This is going to be a very, very close race.
So it's Ryder Gilbert, not Riley Gilbert. Riley Gilbert is the guy that used to be in your team.
Yes, that is
Steve
correct.
Martin. That's why I had the name on my mind. But Ryder Gilbert is from South Australia as well. So we're getting ready for a race start. Yamaha Finance R3 Cup. Second race of the weekend, first race of the Sunday program for these impressive juniors. well, impressive juniors, and Brandon Demery still could be considered a junior. He's one of the veterans of the class, but he's still only in his 20s. We're ready to go racing. Sam Phillips leaves the front of the grid. Yamaha Finance R3 Cup. R3 Cup is go. Big wheelie from Swain, but he's managed to go forward as well as upwards as he launched off the line and makes his way down to Alpine Stars corner for the first time. Looked like a pretty good start there from Henry Snell on board bike number 12 as well. He'll slot into second position. Keep our eye back in the pack to see who's moving. Looked like Cooper Roundtree didn't get the best of the starts and has dropped back quite a few positions as they make their way through turn one for the first time. You can see them get set now, Steve, for the long run down the back straight. Yeah, absolutely. It's Swain that leaves. Yesterday's winner, Marcus Hamod, just back in the pack there on that blue bike. He's still in seventh, so work to do for him. Sam Pizzetta is making his way forward as well. Just looking up the inside, there goes Pizzetta. Yeah, I think that was bike number 25. Oh. That's gone in there. Who's that? That's bike number 72. That is Ryder Gilbert, who unfortunately has come off at the entry into AMMF corner, turn 3. Yeah, you can just see there the wet on the inside where they do go to overtake up the inside. Perhaps he's hit a little bit of a wet patch or something like that. Got to be super careful, let these tyres warm up. Yeah, they certainly won't be going into turn 4 abreast or 5 abreast like they were in yesterday's races. Not for a little bit at least. No, we've got, looks like Henry Snell and also Brodie Gorth, the Megacycle race team riders out the front, dominating the first lap of this race. As they come round to complete that first lap. Cameron Swain back there in third position. Where is Brandon Demery? He's always lurking with intent. He's right there in fourth place. A little bit of a gap, but I wouldn't let that worry him at the moment. He's going to close that down pretty quickly. Use that slipstream effect. We heard you guys talking about the slipstream effect in the cars. Well, it's even bigger. Bigger help on these R3s. Well, you can see Brandon Demery there closing right into the back of Cameron Swain. Of course, Brandon Demery picking up a new sponsor this weekend, Surface Clean Australia, helping out bike number 11. But look who is charging forward. It is bike number 13, Marcus Hamod, yesterday's race winner that has made his way up into third position now on the Moto City machine. And also coming with him as well is Jai Russo. They both live in the same part of Australia in Wollongong, south of Sydney, and they're both on a charge at the same time. Russo, keep an eye out for him on board bike number 32. Yeah, Lincoln Knight also went down in that crash on turn 3, the AMMF corner a lap before. So he's picked the bike up and he is resuming, but he's at the back of the pack now. Through the Yamaha Financial Services corner we come, and then down this final little straight that leads us to the Ducati corner. As Henry Snell goes back into the race lead. Hamod had moved his way up there on bike number 13. You can see him there. Brandon Demery still sitting in a good position. You can see Jai Russo there on board the yellow and black machine, sitting back in about 5th position. It's good to see Sam Pizzetta up there. He was really good at the end of last year. Then he seems to have gone off the ball a little bit, but he's going really good now as Demery goes through. Yeah, I think Sam Pizzetta had a big crash, and it's taken him a little while to get over the injuries from that crash. Yeah, he's there now, though. Well, he's back to the front where we know that Sam Pizzetta on the Unitech racing machine can be. That's him on board bike number 51. You can see him there searching for the slipstream from the rider in front. That is Henry Snell, and Sam Pizzetta pulls out of the slipstream down the inside. Could very well go into the race lead. He's got the two Megacycle machines of Snell and also Gorth right behind him. Gorth's moved up into second position. He was in 5th as they came out of turn 2. You can see the advantage of the slipstream there, Steve. He used it to perfection. Oh, absolutely. Good job by him there. Cam Swain, who we thought would be further up, is back in 7th at the moment in that second group. Not much overtaking opportunity into Honda there because of that, the wet patches on the inside. You'd have to be pretty brave to try and outbrake someone there, but that will dry up through the course of the day. We've got 1.8 seconds covers the top 11 riders. In fact, 1.9 seconds covers the top 12 riders in this class. Positions change every single corner, especially here at Queensland Raceway, using the slipstream, then the long out-braking duels that we see into every corner. Brandon Demery back there in that 3rd position. Pizzetta pulls out of the slipstream of Henry Snell to lead them across the line. The other thing he just learnt there was Pizzetta that he could come out behind somebody out of that last corner, and he got to the finish line first. So if he's sitting behind the leader on the last lap and he gets a drive like he did, he could still win the race. So it's currently Henry Snell sitting back in the pack. He was leading as they came across the line, and he's dropped back now to about... where is Henry? He's back in about 5th position on board bike number... on bike number 12.
Guess who else is making their way forward? Marcus Hamad, who won both of the races yesterday, is up into that top 4 as well now on the number 13 machine.
And the man that's just sitting there, letting all of these other riders carve each other up while he just sits there in a perfect position at the moment is Cameron Swain. He knows we're only on lap 4 of the 8-lap journey, and it's probably not time yet that Cam Swain's going to use that impeccable racecraft that's got him so many wins in these classes, including a dominant year in the BluCru Oceania Junior Cup, where racing is very much like this, to try and move his way forward. That'll come, I'd say, Steve, in the last 2 or 3 laps.
Well, he's got to start thinking about it, in my opinion, with 4 laps to go. He's got a decent amount of guys to pass. That's like, it's every time that if he stays in that position, it's like almost 1 or 2 guys a lap that he's got to pass if he wants to win this one.
Cooper Roundtree's also in this group on board bike number 57. You can see him there just behind Brodie Gorth as they make their way down the straight. I love seeing them all go for the massive twist of the throttle there too. Reminds me of Robbie Bugden racing here at Queensland Raceway many years ago, where he almost ripped the right handlebar off the Suzuki Superbike as he was trying to get the better of all the rest of the competitors and put on a great show in front of his home Queensland fans.
It looks like that incident that we had earlier on in the race where 72 and 222 both went down. Those bikes collided together, so there'll be an investigation after the race to determine what the issue was there.
Right, the group behind this lead group that is now 8 riders covered by 0.6 of a second is Ryan Larkin, Geordie Simpson and Valentino Nezovic, and they're only covered by a couple of tenths of a second. You can see there's that little gap back to the next group, but we have got an 8-bike freight train now making its way down towards Honda Corner. You can see them pan out, staying well and truly away from those wet slick patches on the inside of the circuit.
Yeah, definitely a lot of overtaking done there throughout the weekend, but not this morning at the moment. But it is Marcus Hamad who leads the way.
Coming round to complete 5 laps of this 8-lap race. Hamad settles back into second position as Brendan Demery goes back into the lead. We mentioned Surface Clean Australia. Good to see out-of-industry sponsors jumping on board and supporting these young riders as well, as Hamad pulls out of the slipstream on the Moto City machine. Also, Marcus Hamad doing double duty here this weekend, racing in SuperSport 300 and Yamaha Finance R3 Cup, but also jumping on board a SuperSport machine for the first time.
Wow, it's incredible, isn't it? He's definitely going to be a busy boy out there. It is a physical circuit here in the braking area. It requires a lot of concentration to get it right, and to have that diversity of bikes. It's it's a big ask, but it's working out for him.
Henry Snell and also Sam Pizzetta trying to use the slipstream as much as they can. All it did was just draw them closer to our 2 lead riders, Hamad and Demery. You can see Cameron Swain has taken your advice, Steve. He's starting to make his way forward now. He's up into 5th position, so he's moved forward 3 positions over the last lap and a half or so. That charge has started for Cameron Swain on board bike number 26. We make our way through Honda Corner. You can see that 8-bike freight train almost nose to tail.
Very flowing part of the circuit there. You have to keep your mid-corner speed up, and it really does determine the speed down this short back straight and into the final corner on this circuit. So
Demery leads. Snell gets pushed wide by Hamad coming through.
You can see. Go on.
The next rider through is Brodie Gorth and then Cameron Swain.
You can definitely see all the different lines into that final corner as well, Phil. They're like, you can go tight, you can go wide, and these guys will be trying different variations because who knows which line they're going to have to take on that final lap.
Well, you saw yesterday that was the strange line that everyone thought that Marcus Hamad had taken, but it was the one that got him the drive out of the corner and got him to the line first. So it is Snell, Hamad, Demery. Then it's Brodie Gorth sitting there. He was obscured by Henry Snell as the Megacycle machines almost worked as a pair. Into the lead goes Brodie Gorth on board bike number 25. Here comes Cameron Swain down the inside. Used the slipstream, the multiple bike slipstream there to absolute perfection. Has he been able to get the bike stopped and turned? He ran a little bit wide. What that's going to do is square the corner off, and he's probably got great drive down the straight now as he heads towards Honda Corner. And this will be 7 laps complete. They get the last lap board, Steve, at the end of this lap. And Cameron Swain, he's got back to the lead right when he needed to be to challenge for that race victory.
Well, he certainly has, but maybe he's gone slightly too early because we know how easy it is to slipstream past here. So he's in the lead. He probably needed to be 2nd or 3rd at this point of the race so that when his turn come to be at the front, he was more near the more at the end of this next lap to battle for the win. Let's see what happens, but Swain hasn't won this yet. There's a lot of competition in this one.
Last lap board is out for our race leader, Cameron Swain, as he comes to the start-finish line. Gorth in second, Pizzetta in third. You can see Brandon Demery. He's the one they should all be worried about because he has got the racecraft. He's the most experienced rider in this field. He's just gone from fourth to second as they go through turn one, Alpine Stars corner for the final time.
Yeah, that was a beautiful dive up the inside by Demery there. Held his breath, held the throttle on a little bit more. Perhaps it was wet on the inside there, but he didn't care. He just went straight through it and dove up the inside of Pizzetta.
Right, down into the AMMF corner we come for the final time. It is Demery that takes the lead with the advantage of the slipstream, but the big battle is on the brakes, and it looks like it could be Sam Pizzetta that leads them. Demery's tacked the back of Pizzetta's machine, and he's gone wide. He's dropped nearly to the back of this 8-bike freight train. So I think Demery is out of the equation for the race win. Pizzetta will lead them as they come towards turn 4.
And Swain is now in the perfect spot in that third position. If he can just hold it together. Is that Demery up the inside, making up all those spots?
There was someone that forgot to use the brakes completely, Steve, as they came in towards turn 4. Onto the final straight now. We come down towards Ducati corner. Out of Yamaha Financial Service, and it's Pizzetta that leads. Gorth positioned himself. Cameron Swain coming down the inside.
Look at Demery.
Demery's gone around the outside. There's no way he can get that bike stopped. He's going to get a good drive out of the corner, but it's not going to be good enough for a podium position. It is Pizzetta that leads them onto the start-finish straight. Brodie Gorth trying to use the slipstream. Marcus Hamott as well as Cameron Swain, and they all come to the line. I think Pizzetta was able to hang on. What a great ride from Sam Pizzetta. What a return from injury for the Unitech machine.
Yeah, what a brilliant ride. It's so good to see somebody like that when they come back, and you can see they're struggling, and he's certainly back on top of form. Well done, Sam Pizzetta. Brodie Gorth as well, and Cam Swain right up there. Marcus Hamott, he'd be happy with fourth if he hadn't won 2 races yesterday. Well,
0.183 of a second Marcus Hamott was behind the race leader. He doesn't even get on the podium. That is Yamaha Finance R3 Cup, because as they came across the line, Steve, it was 0.021, the eventual winning margin for Sam Pizzetta. Cameron Swain, 0.058 of a second behind our race leader, Sam Pizzetta. Fastest lap of the race went to Marcus Hamott on the last lap of the race. He couldn't have done any more, a 1:22.179, and didn't quite make it to the podium. Wow, what a race. What a great way to get two-wheeled action started here at Queensland Raceway. There's the confirmation of your results. Pizzetta takes the win. Brodie Gorth in second place, and Cameron Swain will join those three on the podium. Marcus Hamott in fourth, Brandon Demery in fifth, Henry Snell in sixth, Cooper Roundtree in seventh, Joe Russo in eighth, Lachlan Lowe, a great ride from him in ninth position, and Valentino Nezovic rounds out the top 10.
Harrison Watts in 11th place, Ryan Larkin in 12th.
And in P1, returning from injury, Sam Pizzetta, all the way from South Australia. You got to be happy with that win.
Yeah, very, very happy. The last 2 rounds have really been mentally challenging for me, and just a massive learning curve. So it's been amazing with the support from my team, my family, my friends. Everything just helps me out so much, and now we'll be able to get back on top, which is so good. And I just want to thank Anthony, especially Global Access, PowerCell, and all my other sponsors, Unitech Racing, the whole team, everyone just took. It wasn't just me, it was everyone that made this possible, and yeah, just thank you.
Yeah, great work.
Thank you.
Congratulations to the Unitech Racing team and Sam Pizzetta. What a fantastic effort from them. Plenty more action coming up from Queensland Raceway. Back shortly.
What a day we're in for.
Well, I think you summed it up perfectly, Steve, when you mentioned in the intro that it was going to be some great racing here at Queensland Raceway, and we're off to a great start. But the good news is we've got the young guys that are aspiring, or young guys and girls that are aspiring to be the Alpine Stars Superbike riders of the future, coming up next as the BluCru Oceania Junior Cup makes their way to the grid. Ready for the final race of the weekend for the Road to MotoGP Academy. Of course, the 4 champions that we've had in this class previous have all gone on to bigger and better things. And I'm sure that's going to be no different for the 2023 champion, whoever that may be. I've had our warm-up lap. We're ready to go racing. Sam Phillips leaves the front of the grid. BluCru Junior Cup is go. Great start from the second row of the grid there coming through. I think you'll find that'll be Archie Smith on board, bike number 69. He's done it in all the races so far this weekend, and he's done it again in race number 3. And 69 will tip into turn 1. The Alpine Stars corner in the lead of this race as the rest of the field all manages to stream through. And the good news is, Steve, that it looks like everybody is through the first 2 corners safe and sound. Yeah,
real good to see. There's Bodie Page up there in that second position with, looks like Valentino Nesvik behind him. We've got a good gaggle of riders all in that lead group already, which is good to see.
It looked like Ellen McCausland's got a good start. She's off with the lead group as well on board bike number 61.
Well, not only has she gone to the lead, she hit the lead for a second there on the number 61. Just on the outside there, she's in second. A little bit wide, but you can get away with that on the first lap there.
Yeah, I think she may have dropped back to about 4th position as a couple of riders went up the inside of her. But, you know, Ellen McCausland is a very late breaker. One thing is I have noticed about Ellen McCausland is as soon as the grip goes away, if it's wet, she's one of the riders that's always at the front. We heard from Troy Herfoss that the grip has gone away a little bit with the late afternoon, the little bit of the wind and everything. So this may be playing right into Ellen McCausland's hands on board bike number 61.
Yeah, absolutely. She's up in that 5th position, so she started in 6th. So that's making her way forward in this one. But it's still Archie Smith on the number 69 out the front at the moment.
Yeah, Ricky Henry's up there as well on board the 36 machine. A big fan of Kevin Schwantz is Ricky Henry, the South Australian. So they make their way out to complete this first lap. Bodie Page is back to 3rd place. Valentino Nesvik in 4th. Rolly Norton's in there as well, along with John Pelgrave. All of the riders that were in that lead group in the previous race today, as Henry goes into the lead now on bike number 36.
Yeah, he's quite a small rider, is Ricky Henry, so you know, he fits these bikes well.
Ricky Henry has also done quite a few rounds on the Avale Mini GP machines and that as well, with taking a race victory in that series last year at Sydney Motorsport Park in tricky wet conditions. So down the backstraight we come. Look at Bodie Page threading the eye of a needle straight through the middle of, I think that was Ricky Henry and Valentino Nesvik to take up the running at the front.
But it is Bodie Page who wins that 4x4 braking duel into the bottom corner, the AWMF corner.
Just having a look back through the field to see where brother Jake is. He's in 12th position on board bike number 55. That's Jake Page, Bodie's brother.
Or 0.5 behind, depending on how you want to look at it.
That's it. Oh, he's run a bit wide there on the entry into turn 4, and it looks like, I think that may be Ricky Henry that's gone back into the lead on board the 36.
Jed Fife has that, I think could have been Jed Fife that ran wide. No, it's Rossi McAdams also jumped back a bit, but Jed Fife lost a lot of spots in that corner, so it could have been him. Oh, nice and close there, but it's Ricky Henry who leads onto the straight.
You could throw a very small blanket over the lead group now as they come through the final corner and out onto the start-finish straight to complete the second lap. 3 riders have just managed to get a little bit better drive, but you can guarantee by the time we get to possibly the entry to turn 2 that will all be rectified and we'll be back to a huge group of riders. There we go, entry to turn 1, and they're all once again nose to tail. Ricky Henry and Valentino Nesvik probably a little bit closer to nose to tail than some of them would have liked. It was almost rubbing tyres there as they made their way through turn 1 on that occasion. So a bit of a charge there from bike number 18. I think that's Elijah Andrew, is it? Yes, it is. He's up into 10th position. And the young man from Western Sydney that's been doing a lot of training to try and better himself in his second year in this category has moved up into 10th position and part of this big pack of riders that are disputing our race lead.
Gee, this Queensland Raceway, the thing that it does teach these young riders is perception. I mean, you need to have really good perception to know when to pull the brakes on, how much pressure to put on those brakes so that you get to that midpoint, the apex of the corner, with the perfect amount of corner speed. It's not easy, but this is a good track to teach these younger riders exactly how to do it, because it's a repetitive motion at this track.
Elijah Andrews moved up to 8th now, and we've got 1.8 seconds, covers the top 11, but only 0.8 of a second covering the top 7 as they went through the third intermediate. I think that's even closer now as we come through Pirelli and out onto the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight. Look at them line astern. pretty much the whole field, apart from those 4 riders down the back, are all closed up pretty tightly, Steve, as they make their way across the line and down into Alpine Stars corner.
We've got...
Hayden Fordyce is on a charge now. Look at bike number 17.
Yeah, he's scything his way through, isn't he? That was good. He's kept that corner speed up too. We've got 13 riders in 2 seconds at the moment, so it's a pretty impressive bunch there.
So it's bike number 69 also making a bit of a charge. That's Archie Smith pulling out of the slipstream of Ella McCausland. And Hayden Fordyce has now hit the lead. I can guarantee you it won't be for long because they come down to the braking area. Henry has a big lunge up the inside and should take up the running at the front. Bodie Page has got the inside tight line. Will that compromise his speed as he comes out of AMMF corner and down through Dunlop now? One rider pulling to the inside, one rider pulling to the outside, and plenty of riders filling in the middle ground there as they...
Did you see one of the riders in the back of the pack there telling the guy behind him to just stay behind me? I'm quicker than you are. I'll tow you along.
And we know there's one gone down. One has gone down on the the exit of turn 4. Just wait and see who that is as they get to the next intermediate or down there at Ducati corner turn 6. It could be it's Ella McCausland. That's the same place that she crashed in race 2 as well.
Look how tight it is there. Bodie Page up the inside, a couple of little bubbles there, uses all the track on the exit, stays in 3rd position. Yeah, but as you say, poor old Ella, she's not having much luck in that first left-hander, is she?
No, the second time today she's gone down in that corner, but the good news is she's up and A-OK. Hopefully she can even get her bike started and get round to the finish and get some very important OJC points. As John Pelgrave there looked like he was caught on the outside, just couldn't turn the bike in as hard as he would have liked because, funnily enough, there was a BluCru Oceania Cup bike right in his way. Of course, all of these bikes are prepared by the BluCru Oceania Junior Cup crew. The lighter riders have to carry a little bit more fuel than the heavier riders that can get away with having a little bit less fuel in the bikes. And they've got the coaching skills of Gary McCoy to help them out. And the way they're racing, he's doing a fantastic job, Steve, because we've seen so much close racing and you've got to say, only a very few crashes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's proven to be just a fantastic class for these young up-and-coming riders. It's a great, cheap way to introduce yourself or your kids into motorsport as well. So
when you pay your entry fee at the beginning of the year and you get your helmets, your Shark helmet, you get your Recondi leathers, you get your boots and gloves.
You turn up in your shorts and thongs and everything's provided.
That's exactly right. You feel like a factory rider turning up to each round. Your bike's prepared for you. All you've got to do is just look after it for the weekend, transport it to the round, and all you've got to look after is your travel and accommodation. As we see around the outside, it is Archie Smith trying to get the run there, but I think it's Rolly Norda's come up the inside and will take up the running at the front now.
Good news, Ella McCausland is okay after that little off that she had, so she won't finish this race, but she is A-OK. Right.
So it is Smith with Norta and Page. They've got a little bit of a gap again. Then it's Ricky Henry, John Pelgrave, Hayden Fordyce on 17, then John Pelgrave in that group as well on board bike number 43. Hunter Corney is also up into that lead group as well.
That's good. He was involved in the crash earlier on today, I think, wasn't he?
He could have been, yes. Well, there was a couple of crashes in that first race. So Hunter Corney, the good news is that he's back in there on board bike number 40.
Here we go. And it is the number 36, Ricky Henry, looks up the inside there, takes that inside line, moves himself up into 2nd place.
I think just looking at it, there was 4 riders that actually took the lead of the race on the run into one corner. And then it all's changed by the time they came out of the corner. And of course, we are on the final lap. So this is the business end of this BluCru Oceania Junior Cup race. It's only 6 laps. They pack a lot of action into 6 laps. We're coming down now to the final set of corners. They need a good run out of here, and then it's going to be all about a good lunge on the brakes, but then getting drive out of Ducati corner and through Pirelli and onto the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight. And it is Bodie Page coming down the inside of Ricky Henry. Can Henry get the bike stopped and turned it on the inside line? He's giving it a red-hot shot, but I think it might be Bodie Page. He's heading for his 2nd race win of the weekend. He took out out race 1 by 0.026 of a second, and Ricky Henry's going to pull out of the slipstream, but he can't quite get the job done. And Bodie Page takes his second win. Ricky Henry in second and Archie Schmidt in third. And I think that could very well be Ricky Henry's first ever podium in the BluCru Oceania Junior Cup.
Oh, what a great weekend for Bodie Page, but for Ricky Henry to get that podium. It's always difficult to get that first one, but when you get it, boy, do you celebrate.
So congratulations to Bodie Page, Ricky Henry and Archie Schmidt. They are your top 3. And after a solid result in race number 2, Bodie Page has gathered up a whole lot of good championship points for this round of the championship. Valentino Nezovic in 4th place, John Pelgrave in 5th, Hayden Fordyce rounds out the top 6 with Riley Norder, Jake Page, Jed Fyfe and Hunter Corney rounding out your top 10. There you go, confirmed results. Bodie Page takes the win from Ricky Henry and Archie Schmidt. Nezovic, Pelgrave, Fordyce, Norta, Page, Fyfe and Corney round at the top 10 with Elijah Andrew dropping back to 11th place. Isaac Ayard, great race for him in only his 5th race in the championship in 12th place. Hunter Charlotte in 13th, Nixon Frost in 14th, Oscar Lewis in 15th, Rossi McAdam in 16th, Nicholas Larzos in 17th and Ella McCausland unfortunately went down at turn 4 and did not finish the race. Welcome back to Queensland Raceway. One more race to go on today's program, and that is the Yamaha Finance R3 Cup, the 3rd and final race for this class over the weekend. And if the racing that we've seen in this class and the SuperSport 300 is anything to go by, we are in for an absolute treat to finalise a sensational weekend of racing here at round 3 of the championship. And Steve, well, I just don't know what to say. We've seen so much action this weekend. This race is going to be another absolute cracker, and the racing has been so close, but unfortunately for rider number 72, Ryder Gilbert, he's got to start from the rear of the grid due to a penalty he received in race number 2. But, well, that's probably not going to be too much of a drama because this field will be very tightly packed over the first couple of laps anyway.
Absolutely.
So they're off on their final warm-up lap.
Good to see Cam Swain there, back on pole position for this one. Be interested to see what he can do out there, see if he can round off what's been a pretty good weekend for him. And of course, Brody Gorworth there and Henry Snell. The Mega Cycle Racing machines. So
the grid is Cameron Swain, Brody Gorth and Henry Snell on row 1, Valentino Nezovic, Brandon Demery and Jai Rousseau on row 2.
Marcus Amott, Sam Pizzetta, Brian Larkin on row 3. Row 4 is Harrison Watts, Geordie Simpson from South Australia and Lachlan Lowe. Row 5, Cooper Roundtree, Lincoln Knight and Ryder Gilbert, who will be starting from the back of the grid. 16th is Will Nassif and Abby Cameron as well from Western Australia. Well,
so far we've seen 2 different race winners, Sam Pizzetta and Marcus Amott taking victory in the previous races this weekend. Brody Gorth has been on the podium. We've seen Cameron Swain on the podium, Henry Snell and Brandon Demery. 6 different riders on the 6 different podium positions that we've seen in 2 races so far. Can we make it 9 out of 3?
Well, I reckon we'll be looking that way because it's so close around this QR circuit that you just can never predict anything. Brendan Damery, he's always in for a podium chance. He's a hard charger. He's more looking to the championship, of course, than perhaps these younger guys that want victory at every moment. But nevertheless...
There's Abby Cameron making her way back around onto the grid as well. Managed to get points in both of the races so far this weekend. You can also see Harrison Watts there on the Team BWR machine, the reigning champion from the BluCru Oceania Junior Cup. We've just seen them out there racing, so you know the hectic nature of the racing in that category. That's what Harry Watts has come through last year, and also won the FIM Mini GP and represented Australia along with Tieran Fleming at the FIM Mini GP series finale in Valencia, along with the riders from 16 other countries that competed in that series last year as well. So getting ready for the final race on today's program, Yamaha Finance R3 Cup, ready to go. R3 Cup is go. Looked like a bit of a movement there on the second row of the grid, Steve.
Yeah, that was definitely going to be a start under investigation for that. That possibly was Demery that did that. We'll find out later on, but there was clear movement before the the red light went out there. So anyway, Cam Swain's not worried about that. He's doing what he does best, which is tucking in and leading the race. Sam Pizzetta with work to do, considering he won the last one. Back in the pack, probably down in the top 9th or 10th position at the moment.
Yeah, just ahead of Geordie Simpson, it looks like, on board bike number 33. You can pick out the yellow machine very, very easily as Brodie Gorth takes the lead momentarily. Cameron Swain comes back when Gorth runs wide. Henry Snell is in there as well on board bike number 12. It's been a massive weekend. I said it before in the SuperSport 300. In fact, you'd go as far as to say it's been a mega weekend for the Mega Cycle Racing team.
Well, it has, all for one little hiccup when Henry Snell's bike stopped here earlier on in the day, but they've obviously fixed that. They put him on the spare bike, and he's already proven that spare bike's got some mumbo-jumbo too, because he's already had another podium since that happened. And there he is, Henry Snell.
So speak of the devil, there he is, down the inside of Cameron Swain with a big attempt, but Swain was too late on the brakes. He couldn't get up the inside. Joe Russo's had a fantastic weekend as well on board bike number 32.
Oh, off track. Cooper Roundtree that possibly was.
Well, Cooper Roundtree is a former motocrosser, I think, isn't he? He just sort of went back to his origins there, getting off track. It's cost him a couple of positions too, hasn't it? He's dropped back into the pack now behind Joe Russo.
Maybe there was no jump start. We haven't had any indication yet.
No, maybe the red light wasn't on when the bike moved back there on that second row of the grid. So just keeping our eyes on the riders trying to make their way forward. Brian Larkin has got different coloured wheels in this race, so he's not as easy to pick out. Oh, start is under investigation. Confirmation from race control.
Oops, must have given him a bit of a reminder there. So let's see how that all pans out. But I would say that definitely one rider's going to get a penalty there.
Well, we've seen a couple of penalties handed out this weekend for different infringements. He's had a big lunge on the brakes there from Jordan Simpson on board bike number 33, closing right up on the back of the 48 machine of Valentino Nezovic. Another one off track.
Was that Demery again?
I don't know if it was Demery. Just couldn't quite see who it was, but we will know because we'll see someone dropping back through the field as they come round across the start-finish line. Marcus Amott on the Motor City entry has moved up into third now. He won his first race in the class yesterday afternoon, and then promptly followed it up with victory in the SuperSport 300 class, and now he is back into this position.
Cooper Roundtree that was, I think.
Well, that's Cooper Roundtree's second off-track excursion in the space of one lap.
Yeah, and he's worked his way down to 12th, so Demery is actually up there still in that leading group. There he is in 4th or 5th position there at the moment with Snell behind him.
Yeah, Snell and Larkin. I think Larkin got the better of Snell on the turn 2 area as they came out of Michelin corner, but as they go down into AMMF corner, it's Hamod that takes up the running at the front. Demery has just managed to sneak his way up into second position. Cameron Swain back to 4th. A little bit of a gap opening up between our top 4 riders, top 5 riders, top 6 riders, and then gap back to Geordie Simpson, who is leading that next group through on board bike number 33. In fact, Simpson's just been bested by, I think that might be, was it Jay Russo that's got the nod?
Oh, I tell you what, we've just had a pretty incredible lap time by Brandon Demery. He's just done a 21.6. Now that is pretty quick if my memory serves me right.
Well, that would be a new lap record.
Yeah,
a 21.885 was done by Marcus in race number 2 for a new lap record. So Brandon Demery, a 21.680, a new lap record. That's the reason why he's come from the clouds. He was back in about 5th or 6th position. And on that last lap, he moved up into 2nd.
Yeah, just got the perfect amount of slipstream added to the perfect amount of skill, and bang, quick lap.
So here we go. Brian Larkin trying to use the slipstream of Cameron Swain to move forward a position. That top 6 now has really got away from the group behind. In fact, the gap is now 2 seconds back to that next group. There's positions just changed multiple times into every corner. There's a mod that leads at the moment from Demery. Brodie Gorth in there as well. Looking back through that next group, Jai Russo, Geordie Simpson, Valentino Nezovic, Sam Pizzetta, all involved in that group as well. But remember, we saw this in a race earlier on, Steve, that there was about a 2-second gap, and then within a lap or so, the chasing pack had mowed down the riders in the front, and then we had a 12-bike battle for the lead. That's very well what we could have happening here. As we're approaching half-race distance, we're on lap 3 at the moment. We've completed 3 laps. We're on the 4th lap, so the completion of this lap will signal half-race distance. 4 down, 4 to go for the final race on the program. Yamaha Finance R3 Cup.
Demery up the inside, Hamad just behind him, Henry Snell having a good one this time out. Imagine those Megacycle boys, they're doing such a good job out there, aren't they? They're always tooth and nail. They're side by side. Their skill set's about the same at the moment. I mean, it's a real good team.
Well, it's not as if it's just had one of them that's been dominating the racing so far. I think they've both taken a race win so far this weekend. They've, actually, no, Henry Snell thought he'd taken a race win, and then it was Marcus Hamad that got it in the SuperSport 300.
Well, Marcus Hamad's won 3 out of how many so far?
5 races. 3 out of 5.
And up to this point, he'd never won a race, is that right?
That's correct, and he's looking to make it 4 out of 6.
Wow. Well, he's in with a good shot at the moment because he's high in confidence, he's in the right group, and he's leading more than not. In fact, he's leading as we speak.
So it's been a breakthrough weekend for the Moto City man.
Well, nearly leading. It's Swain. Well, here we go. Up the outside, he has a bit of a look, but Swain late on the brakes.
Well, see, the thing was that you saw the shot about 4 seconds after you made the statement, so he probably was leading when you made the statement.
Maybe.
4 seconds later, not so much.
Yep, let's go with that.
Down the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight we come. A little bit of a gap opening up now between our top 2. Won't be too much longer, and that will be all back together, because when they get the slipstream along that long back straight on the exit of Michelin Corner, the slipstream will evaporate. It's already evaporated between turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, that gap back to the next group doesn't look like it's closing down. It's still 2.7 seconds, but the first group's covered by half a second. I mean, at the moment, it was a second a little while ago, but that's half a second, maybe less now. Look at them. They're all side by side in the braking area.
As they go 6 abreast into the corner, Steve, it's probably not even 0.2 of a second.
No. At one point there, it was a dead heat, I think.
Oh, you got to love this racing. It's just so good to watch. And Queensland Raceway has delivered in every single class this weekend. Close, exciting racing. Exactly what you predicted at the beginning of the weekend. And as we come down through Honda Corner with 6 laps, or 5 laps completed, 6 laps we're on. Oh, big moment there. Was that Snell or was that Gorth? I think it might have been Gorth. That's gone, well, he's gone further back from the lead, because that was a big moment on the exit of Yamaha Financial Services Corner. He's managed to stay ahead of Ryan Larkin, though, which is good news for him. Ryan Larkin's going to be able to get the slipstream, though, and look at that little gap because of that moment has just opened up between our lead 4.
And it's Swain who leads into Alpine Stars.
Hamad's still sitting there in second. Then it's the championship leader and most experienced man in the field, Brandon Demery. Of course, remember picking up a new sponsorship this weekend from Surface Clean Australia to go with the existing sponsors. And of course, Troy Corsa, a big factor in that team as well. Henry Snell pulls out to make it 3 abreast as they make their way down the back straight. And Brady Gorth, who was ruining that moment a couple of laps ago, is now back into 3rd position. People Roundtree trying to go around the outside there on board bike number 57 in that next group, being led at the moment by Jay Russo.
Larkin's keeping quite a low profile in this front group, so hopefully he's just conserving energy there at the moment with as they head into that last lap. It's not like he's been battling for the lead in that lead group. He's sitting there. I wonder if that means that he's going to have a red-hot crack in this next couple of laps.
So it's Swain that leads, Demery in second. The Megacycle men in there as well.
There he is in 4th position at the moment.
In fact, Marcus Hamad's dropped right back to the back of this group with the start of the final lap. Marcus needs to get a bit of a wriggle on if he wants to make another victory in the R3 Cup. And as they head round turn 2, the Michelin corner for the final time, I think you will find it is Cameron Swain and Brandon Demery that have got a very small lead over the rider that just ran wide on the exit of Michelin corner, Brodie Gorth. Here comes Ryan Larkin out of the slipstream of Gorth, and Brandon Demery has taken over the lead from Cameron Swain, who then repays the favour with a late lunge on the brakes. He runs a fraction wide. Demery comes back on the inside.
You can run wide there. You can run wide there. Cameron Swain got away with it. You could see the front of his bike. It was bottomed out at that point. It was like on the bump stop into that one. Got away with it though.
Looked like he was on a pogo stick for a moment there.
Yep.
So Swain is just holding on to the lead. Brandon Demery now tries to hunt him down on the final run down this internal straight as they come down to the final corner. But Demery's on the outside. He's at the right position, Steve. Well, it is when you're in the lead.
If you can
and that's
close
exactly what Brandon Demery's done.
Yep.
That's that's age experience and a fair amount of cunning from Brandon Demery. But Cameron Swain used the slipstream. He's pulled out very early. He's going for the race win. He's going to take it. Cameron Swain. What an exceptional use of racecraft there from Cameron Swain. Do you reckon he's happy with that one?
He certainly is, and Demery in second, but Ryan Larkin worked his way up onto the podium too.
Well, congratulations to Cameron Swain. What a race win. We thought that Brandon Demery had used all his conniving and cunning to take the race win, but in the end, it was just a fractional run from the final corner to the checkered flag that meant that Cameron Swain could pull out of the slipstream and get that race win on board bike number 26. I think it's his first win of the weekend across the R3 Cup and Supersport 300 classes for Cameron Swain. Demery will have to be satisfied with second in that race, and Ryan Larkin, that will be his first podium for the weekend in the Yamaha Finance R3 Cup.
Well, if you want to have a talk about championship points for Cameron Swain, he's closed that gap up now. It's almost even up the top with 2 points the difference between the two. Cameron Swain takes the win with Brandon Demery in second. Larkin third, good ride by him. Brodie Gorth, he's had a good weekend, so has Henry Snell in fact. Marcus Hamod, probably the best weekend out of all of them in sixth. Sam Pizzetta in seventh. Cooper Roundtree in eighth, and Valentino Nezovic takes out that ninth position with Jai Rousseau in 10th.
Yeah, Geordie Simpson was in 11th, Lincoln Knight in 12th, Lachlan Lowe, a great weekend, a great first weekend at a national level for the rider on board bike number 77 in 13th, Will Nassif in 14th, Harry Watts in 15th, Ryder Gilbert in 16th, and Abby Cameron takes good points for 17th place on board bike number 88, with that top 5 covered by 0.5 of a second. Top 6 covered by 0.5 of a second, Steve.
And there's a good shot of the moon, look at that.
Sensational. It's been an awesome weekend here in Queensland. We've had great weather all weekend. The forecast coming in was for a little bit of rain over the weekend, but luckily that rain fell last night and didn't really pose any threat to a great weekend of racing. As you mentioned, Brandon Demery on 124 leads the championship now by 2 points over Cameron Swain on 122. Brodie Gorth in third on 106. Marcus Amott in fourth on 103. And Henry Snell in fifth on 100. What a sensational championship we're going to have for this run home that will start again at Morgan Park. Time for some Honda highlights of the final Yamaha Finance R3 Cup race of the day, and Cameron Swain got off to a great start, led them down through turn 1 for the first time. No surprise to see the Megacycle men, Henry Snell and Brodie Gorth in second and third.
No, absolutely. Straight in, a little bit wide for the number 25, Brodie Gorth, but managed to pull it back. They were second and third at that point with Marcus Hamod in that lead group. It was good to see also up in that group Sam Pizzetta, who worked his way through, but we had a couple of guys that ran off in the group as well. Cam Swain made his presence felt towards the group. That group actually broke itself apart from the guys behind.
Well, we also saw Cooper Roundtree have 2 off-track excursions. Such as the intensity of the racing in this class. And you can see there how tightly packed you can get 6 Yamaha R3 Cup machines as they came down into the final group of corners. Every time it was Cameron Swain, Brandon Demery out-braking each other, and that's exactly what happened over the last lap. We saw Demery take the lead, Swain back down the inside, Demery cut back to the inside, Swain have to try and plan something else. He did that on the run down through the final corner. Demery got the lead, and we thought at this stage that Demery had used all his cunning to take another race win, but Swain pulled into his slipstream, pulled out early, and then managed to drive his way past and take the race win by 0.034 of a second. Brandon Demery and Ryan Larkin will join him at the AMX Superstores podium with Kate.
In P3, Ryan Larkin, your larrikin, well done on getting on the podium.
Yeah, thanks for that. That was a really intense race. It's good to be up here. It was a long weekend, and good job to the boys, clean racing. They're all very good about it. I would like to thank Grand Planet Nutrients, Tim Scrivens, Drysdale Chaff Mill, and Mum and Dad.
So good, well done.
Thank you.
And in P2, Brandon Demery, not a win, but a new lap record.
Yeah, didn't quite get a win this weekend, which was pretty disappointing, but happy with the weekend overall. I think I only lost a few points to Cam, so I kept the championship lead, so pretty happy with that. And just got to thank the whole team, the whole Shore Flight, Surface Clean Australia, Active Brand Management team. Thanks to the crew. I really appreciate all your support. Congratulations to Cam. He rode really well. He just got pretty crap luck all weekend.
Great. Thanks for talking.
Thank you.
And in P1, Cameron Swain, you finally got that win for the weekend. A good way to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, the whole weekend was pretty tough. None of my races were going how I wanted them to, you know. That last one I crashed in SuperSport 300. But, you know, that last race was a pretty good way to end the weekend. So, you know, I'd like to thank everyone that helps me, my mum and my dad, Robert Wardrop from IDM Global, Rakondi, Yamaha, Pirelli, Dux Motor, ASBK Bike Shop, Kabuchi Yamaha, Impeller Museum Event Services, OP Racing, Byron Draper from Draper Motorsport, UBX Aspley, IBM Racing. Everyone, thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Well, congratulations to Cameron Swain, his first race victory of the weekend by 0.034 of a second over Brandon Demery and Ryan Larkin. Let's have a quick look at the calendars. The next round of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships presented by Motul is at Darwin's Hidden Valley on the 16th to the 18th of June. Superbikes only at that round. The next round of the Australian Off-Road Championship will be the July 22-23 round. That's rounds 5 and 6 at Edenhope in Victoria. Next round of the Pro MX Championship will be round 4 at Maitland on the 6th to the 7th of May. So that's it from Queensland Raceway. Join us again as the Superbikes join the Supercars for the next event at Darwin's Hidden Valley Raceway in June. We'll see you there.